Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 6, which consists of 3 members. There is I, Muhammad Iqbal Firmansyah, and then Lucia Ismawati, and the last one is Muhammad Rafinanda Rahayu. So today we are going to continue the lesson of TEFL subject, especially the material that we are going to discuss today is mistake and feedback. The first one, we will start from student make mistake. One of the things that confuse many teachers is why students continue to make the same mistakes even when they have been repeatedly pointed out to them. Jadi salah satu yang membuat guru-guru biasa merasa pusing itu karena murid-murid kerap kali melakukan kesalahan yang sama, meskipun beberapa kali guru itu menunjukkan mana cara yang benar dari kesalahan tersebut. Akan tetapi selanjutnya sebenarnya kesalahan, kalau menurut Julian H., itu the mistakes and correction divide into 3 broad categories. Jadi Julian H. membagi kesalahan yang biasa terjadi oleh murid, terjadi kepada murid, maksudnya itu ada 3. Yang pertama slips. Yang slips itu kayak when learners make a mistake, they can correct themselves. Jadi ketika mereka melakukan kesalahan, jadi murid tersebut langsung bisa mengoreksinya tanpa perlu ada penjelasan dari gurunya. After the teacher point out to them. Setelah teacher menunjukkan bahwa ada kesalahan, misalnya ketika mereka sedang membaca, kemudian teacher menghentikan sebentar, ada kesalahan. Nah, kemudian si student itu langsung bisa mengoreksi kesalahannya di mana. Dan selanjutnya errors. Kesalahan yang kedua menurut Julian H. yaitu errors. Jadi kalau errors ini when student make a mistake and they cannot correct themselves and they need to explanation from the teacher. Jadi mereka ketika mereka melakukan kesalahan, mereka tidak dapat mengoreksinya sendiri dan mereka perlu penjelasan dari gurunya. Dan the last categories of mistake yaitu attempts. Jadi attempts itu when student tries to say something but does not yet know the correct way of saying it. Jadi ketika mereka mencoba melafalkan sesuatu, mereka tahu itu. Mereka tahu, tapi mereka belum bisa melafalkannya dengan sempurna. They cannot know way of saying it. Untuk selanjutnya, there are 2 distinct causes for the errors. The first one is L1 interference. It used to happen for the student who learn English as a second language. And because they already have a deep knowledge, at least one another language outside English. Ya, contohnya di Indonesia kan bahasa Inggris tidak menjadi bahasa resmi nasional atau bahasa yang primer, akan tetapi jadi second language, maka ini susah gitu. Ada beberapa, misalnya dalam pengucapan itu kan berbeda sounds. Orang Indonesia misalnya tidak ada R, sedangkan di bahasa Inggris ada R, ataupun sama di Sunda juga ada, susah nyebut F nya. Nantinya we can get confused when we try to speak English fluently, because ada beberapa bagian atau sound yang itu asing bagi telinga kita atau bagi lidah kita selaku who learn English as a second language. And the second causes for the errors is development errors. Di sini dicontohkan, the child start to overgeneralize a new rule that has been learned, and as a result even make mistake with the thing that he or she know before. Misalnya pemahaman yang pertama mereka mengetahui bahwa ketika kita ingin menyebut mereka pergi, dan bentuknya bentuk lampau itu menggunakan past tense. Kalimatnya they went misalnya. Tetapi ketika mereka sudah mempelajari misalnya di sekolah tentang past tense atau gramatikal, mereka jadi menyebut they going. They go itu kan untuk simple present, sedangkan they went itu untuk simple past tense, tapi mereka menyebut they going. Nah, ini penyebabnya kata penulis ada overgeneralis. Untuk selanjutnya, assessing student performance. We can use 3 way to assessing student performance. Yang pertama, by comment. The teacher comments on student performance. It can be so important because one of teacher's role is to encourage. It includes to encourage their motivation in learning. And it can be praised by give them a critique and etc. Jadi misalnya ketika mereka selesai membaca di depan kelas, di depan teman-temannya, we may say it good work, or by a cue atau dengan isyarat, tapi not approvingly, like, dan lain-lain. Dan yang kedua, marks and grades. When students are graded on their work, they are always keen to know what grades they have achieved. When students get good grades, their motivation is often positively affected. Otherwise, bad grades can be extremely disheartening. Jadi kita harus menilai their work atau their task. Yang tujuannya tadi meningkatkan motivasi mereka dalam belajar. It can be positively affected-nya. Jadi itu bisa berdampak positif bagi psikis maupun kejiwaan mereka agar tetap semangat belajar. Makanya nilai atau memberikan skor itu penting dalam proses pembelajaran. Dan yang terakhir ada report. At the end of the term of year, some teachers write reports on their students' performance either for the student, the school, or the parents of the student. Nah, jadi reports ini laporan yang ditujukan termasuk kepada murid itu sendiri, kepada sekolah, dan kepada orang tua. Jadi agar ketiga unsur ini mengetahui seberapa jauh si murid itu dapat mengikuti pelajaran dengan baik atau tidaknya, terutama laporan kepada orang tua. Jadi orang tua bisa ikut melihat gitu, seberapa jauh sih anaknya berkembang atau selama berproses di sekolah tersebut. Dan ini si guru harus memberikan reasonable assessment, ya, penilaian yang beralasan, karena it can be affected their future prospect, akan mempengaruhi prospek mereka di masa depan. Dan yang terakhir itu student assessing themselves. Jadi si murid itu menilai diri mereka sendiri. Jadi di fase ini si guru menyuruh murid untuk menulis apa saja yang mereka telah sukses lakukan dan apa yang menurut mereka kurang bagi diri mereka, atau di bidang apa mereka memiliki kelemahan.
Okay, now I will explain about how to give feedback during oral work. From the book Hammer 3rd edition, explain that oral work consists of 2 activities. The first is accuracy and the second one is fluency. Although accuracy and fluency are the part of oral work, but they were 2 different things. And then how to distinguish between them? The key word is that accuracy is non-communicative oral work, while fluency is communicative oral work. And then I will explain about how to give feedback during accuracy and fluency. But I will explain how to give feedback during accuracy work first before I explain how to give feedback during fluency work. In giving feedback during accuracy work, there are 2 kinds of feedback that can given by the teacher. The first is showing incorrectness of the student's performance, and the second one is getting it right. And then I will explain about showing incorrectness. In showing incorrectness of students' performance, there are 6 ways that we can do. The first is repeating. Repeating is when we can ask the student to repeat what they have said. Perhaps we can say again, which coupled with intonation and expression that indicates something's not clear. The second one is echoing. In echoing, we repeat what students have said by emphasizing the part that was wrong. It is the efficient way to showing incorrectness during accuracy work. Then the third way is by statement or question. We can simply say, "That's not quite right," or "Do people think that's correct?" It's to indicate that something has not quite worked. And the fourth way is by expression. A facial expression or gesture may be enough to indicate that something doesn't quite work. The fifth way is by hinting. We activate the rules that students already know but which they have temporarily disobeyed to give a quiet hint. We can simply say tense to make them think that perhaps they should use past tense rather than perfect tense. And the last one is by reformulation. The teacher asks the student to repeat what they have said correctly, and then the teacher reformulating the sentence but without making a big issue of it. Okay, there are 6 ways to showing incorrectness during accuracy work, and then I will explain about how to give feedback during accuracy work by getting it right. Getting it right is when students unable to correct themselves or respond the formulation, so the teacher must be focused on the right version more detailed. We can say the incorrect version by emphasizing the part which wrong before saying it normally, or we can say the incorrect formula by correctly, or if necessary we can give explanation in grammatical or lexical, so it will give a deeper understanding for student. And after that, we can ask the student to repeat the utterance by correctly. Okay, that's all from me. The next material is about how to give feedback during fluency work. Thank you.
Okay, and the next is feedback during fluency work, and the verse is gentle correction. Can be over in a number of ways. We might simply reformulate what the student has said in the expectation that they will pick up our reformulation, even though it hardly interrupts their speech or other accuracy technique of showing incorrectness, such as echoing an expression. And the second is recording mistake. Write down point we want to refer to later, and some like to use chart or other forms of categorization to help them do this, so that we are not forget about what we want to correct. And the last is after the event. We can give feedback to the class by a number of ways. We might want to give an assessment of an activity, saying how well we believe the student did in it, getting the student to tell us what they found easiest or most difficult. Next is feedback on written work. First, written feedback technique. Responding. One way of considering feedback is to think of it as responding to student work rather than assessing or evaluating what they have done. When we respond, we say how the text appears to us and how successful we think it has been, sometimes how it could be improved. And then is coding. Some teachers use codes and can put these codes either in the body of writing itself or in corresponding margin. This makes correction neither less threatening and considerably more helpful than random marks and comments. Frequently used symbols of this kind refer to issues such as word order, spelling, or verb tense. And the last is finishing the feedback process. Written feedback is designed not just to give an assessment of the student work, but also to help and teach. We give it back because we want to affect our student language use in the future as well as commenting upon its use in the past. When we respond the first and second written draft of a written assignment, we expect a new version to be produced which will show how the student have responded to our comment. The feedback process is only really finished once they have made this change. If students consult grammar books or dictionaries as a way of resolving some of the mistake we have signaled for them, the feedback we have given has had a positive outcomes. The conclusion of this presentation is it's common when the student make mistake during the learning process. Therefore, the teacher must be able to provide appropriate feedback to correct mistakes that have made by students, so that in the future they don't repeat the same mistake. Not only to correct mistake, another function of feedback is to give an assessment or appreciation of what students have done, and also can give motivation for students. That's all for our group presentation. Thanks for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.